Listen carefully, chosen one. There is something you need to know tonight, something that has been moving in the shadows of your life for far longer than you realize. Someone has been managing your story in secret, and God is exposing them right now, at this very moment, while you are still breathing, while you still have the chance to see the truth with your own eyes. You may have felt it, a strange tug inside your spirit, a quiet knowing that something was not adding up, that certain people were not who they claimed to be, that doors were closing for reasons that made no sense, that your own story seemed to be written against you, no matter how hard you fought, no matter how faithfully you prayed. You are not crazy, chosen one. You never were. You were sensing what your eyes could not yet see, and tonight, in this exact moment, the cover is finally being pulled away. This is not random. Nothing about this moment is accidental. You did not stumble onto this message by chance, and you did not open this video because the algorithm happened to bring you here. There is a reason you are hearing this today. There is a reason your heart is beating a little faster right now. God has been preparing you for this moment long before you knew it existed. He has been setting the stage while you slept, while you wept, while you whispered prayers into the dark and wondered if anyone was listening. Someone was listening, chosen one. Someone has always been listening, and tonight, that same someone is moving in ways that will leave the hidden things exposed and the secret managers of your story without a place to hide. You were never ordinary. You need to hear that again, slowly, so it can reach the part of you that forgot. You were never ordinary. The heaviness you carry was never a punishment. The loneliness that follows you like a shadow was never a curse. The battles you have fought in silence, the tears you have hidden from the world, the sleepless nights where your mind would not rest, the moments when you felt invisible while everyone around you seemed to be moving forward without you, all of it was preparation. All of it was the refining fire that God allowed because He saw what you could become. He did not abandon you in that fire, chosen one. He was standing in it with you. He was shaping you while the flames burned away everything that was not truly you. And tonight you are beginning to understand why. Type yes if this speaks to your spirit, because what I am about to tell you will change the way you see your entire life. There has been a hand in your story, a silent, invisible hand that has been working against the purposes of God in your life. And for so long, you blamed yourself. You blamed your choices, your timing, your failures, your weakness. You asked God why He had forgotten you. You asked why your prayers seemed to hit the ceiling and fall back down unanswered. You questioned your faith in the quiet hours of the night, wondering if something was wrong with you, if you were unworthy, if you had done something to deserve the weight that never seemed to lift. But I am telling you today, chosen one, that the story was being managed. Your breakthrough was being delayed by design. Your voice was being silenced by design. Your light was being dimmed by design, all because someone feared what would happen if you ever truly stepped into who God created you to be. The enemy does not waste his time on people who carry no destiny. Think about that for a moment. Think about everything you have endured and ask yourself why the attacks have been so relentless, why the opposition has been so specific, why the same area of your life keeps getting attacked, the same wound keeps getting reopened, the same door keeps getting slammed shut. It is because you matter. It is because there is something inside you that the kingdom of darkness has been terrified of since the day you were born. The people who hurt you, the situations that broke you, the betrayals that left you gasping for air, they were not random pieces of a chaotic life. They were assignments, and every assignment has a name, and every name is now being written into the light of God's exposure. You may have noticed that things have started to shift recently. A person whose true colors suddenly became visible. A situation that was hidden for years suddenly coming to the surface. A feeling in your spirit that something is about to break open, even though your circumstances still look the same. That is the beginning of the exposure. That is God peeling back the curtains in the theater of your life, revealing the strings, revealing the puppeteers, revealing every silent manager who thought they could write your ending without the author of your beginning. And when the author steps in, every stolen chapter is returned, every rewritten page is restored, and every lie planted in your heart is uprooted by the truth that has always been yours. Listen carefully, because this part matters. The person managing your story in secret has been operating through other people. That is how it always works. The whisper goes into an ear, and the ear becomes a mouth, and the mouth becomes a betrayal. You have wondered why certain people turned on you without a reason. You have wondered why your own inner circle seemed to misunderstand you at the exact moments you needed them most. It was not all coincidence, chosen one. There were words planted, seeds of doubt sown, images of you carefully distorted until even the people who loved you could not see you clearly anymore, and for years you carried the pain of being misunderstood, of being judged by people who never asked for your side. But God sees the full picture. And the exposure happening right now is not only about revealing the enemy's hand, it is about vindicating you. It is about restoring the truth of your name in places where it was defiled. It is about causing the very people who misjudged you to see the truth with their own eyes, so that your vindication comes from the mouth of God Himself, not your own. You do not have to fight for your reputation anymore, chosen one. The one who sees in secret is now moving in public, and he does not need your defense, because he is your defender. And he has never once lost a case. There is a reason it is today and not any other day. Divine timing is the most precise mechanism in the universe. God does not move early, and He does not move late. He moves exactly when the exposure will do the most good, exactly when your heart is finally ready to handle the truth without being destroyed by it. You may not feel ready, you may feel fragile, but the fact that you are still here, still seeking, still praying, still breathing, is proof that you were made for this hour. The seeds of your destiny were planted in the dark, watered by your tears, and now the season of harvest has come, and nothing planted in secret can remain hidden when the light of God turns on. You are not late, chosen one, you are not behind, and you are not forgotten. The enemy has been trying to convince you that time is running out, that your window has passed, that the years you lost can never be returned. But time belongs to God. He can restore what the locusts have eaten, He can return what the enemy stole, and He can multiply the years that were wasted in ways your mind cannot compute. The delay was never your punishment, chosen one. It was your protection. The person who managed your story in secret believed they were writing your failure, but they were actually writing the setup for your greatest testimony. Think about every closed door that redirected you. Think about every rejection that sent you down another path. What if it was never about you? What if those doors were closed because the room behind them was not meant for you? What if those people were removed because their presence would have delayed the destiny that is now approaching? The enemy would love for you to spend your whole life mourning the doors he closed, while the door God has been preparing for you stands waiting, untouched, glorious, and you have not even turned to look at it yet. Turn around now, chosen one. Look at what God has been building while you were grieving what the enemy took. Type 777. If you trust God's timing, because your timing has not been broken, it has been orchestrated. I want you to consider something you may never have thought about before. Every year that felt wasted was actually a year where God was disqualifying the wrong doors, so that when the right one finally opened, you would recognize it instantly, without a single doubt in your spirit. If your breakthrough had come during the years you thought you wanted it, you might have walked through the wrong door entirely, mistaking a counterfeit for the real thing simply because you were desperate for anything that looked like an answer. God's delay protected you from that mistake, chosen one, even when the delay itself felt like the cruelest thing you had ever endured. There is something you have carried alone that you have never fully spoken out loud. There is a weight that only you know about. There is a night or a season or a moment that changed you, that marked you, that made you build walls around your heart so high that even the people who love you can only see the gates, never the city. You became the person who always smiles, always helps, always shows up for everyone else, while inside something kept whispering that you were not enough. And I want you to know, chosen one, that God has seen every hour of that hidden war. He has counted every tear that fell in the dark. He has recorded every prayer you could not finish because your voice broke before the words came. Nothing about your struggle has been invisible to him. And the reason he allowed you to walk through it is not because he abandoned you, but because he was building a depth in you that shallow people will never understand. You were never ordinary. Even in your hardest moments, especially in your hardest moments, the light of your calling was being forged. The same fire that frightened you is the fire that purified you. The same wilderness that exhausted you taught you to hear the voice of God without the noise of the world. The person who has never been broken does not know how to hold others when they break. The person who has never been betrayed does not know how to spot a hidden hand. You are that person now, chosen one. And everything you survived has made you dangerous to the kingdom of darkness. Listen carefully, because I need you to understand who is holding the pen. It was never the person who managed your life in secret. It was never the voices that spoke against you. The pen belongs to God. It has always belonged to God. And while the enemy was busy writing your ending in the shadows, God was reading the whole book from the beginning, smiling, because he already knows the chapter that is coming next. The exposure happening in your life right now is the hinge, chosen one. It is the moment where the story turns, where the manager of your secret story is removed from their position, and where the years of groaning give way to the season of glory. You may have noticed that you have not felt like yourself lately. There is a shifting happening inside you, a stirring you cannot name. This is the tension of the transition. This is what it feels like when the old season is ending and the new season has not fully arrived. It is uncomfortable on purpose. The discomfort is the stripping away. The restlessness is the divine dissatisfaction that God uses to move you out of places too small for what he is bringing. Do not pray for the discomfort to disappear. Pray for the courage to walk through it, because on the other side of this restlessness is the life you have been praying for in your weakest moments. Type 1111 to affirm this message, because the message you are receiving right now is not a coincidence. It is a download, and your spirit recognizes it even if your mind is still catching up. I want you to sit with the weight of what transition actually costs a person. It costs the comfort of the familiar, even when the familiar was painful. It costs the identity you built around your survival, an identity that now has to loosen its grip so a new one can take its place. It costs the certainty of knowing exactly what tomorrow holds, because tomorrow now holds something you cannot yet predict. This cost is real, and I will not pretend it is small. But chosen one, everything you are being asked to release in this transition is being replaced with something your old life was never big enough to contain. There is a reason the enemy targeted your voice specifically. There is a reason you have been silenced, overlooked, interrupted, ignored, and pushed aside in ways that feel personal, because they were. Your voice carries something that the kingdom of darkness does not want released into the earth. Your story carries something. Your testimony carries something. The way you love, the way you pray, the way you keep showing up even when no one applauds, it all carries weight in the spiritual realm, and the hidden manager of your story knew it. They knew that if you ever fully believed in yourself, if you ever fully stepped into your anointing, entire structures of darkness would begin to crumble. So they worked quietly. They planted doubt. They reminded you of every failure while hiding your best moments. And somewhere along the way, you started agreeing with them. Do you realize what that means, chosen one? The battle was never about your circumstances. It was about your identity. The enemy never needed to destroy your life if he could convince you to abandon your calling. He never needed to stop your destiny if he could stop you from believing that you had one. That is why the exposure happening now is so important. God is not just exposing the person who managed your story, He is exposing every lie that person planted in your heart. He is reconnecting you to the original blueprint of your life, the one that has been waiting for you to stop looking at the enemy's counterfeit and start living the original. God has been preparing you for this moment more than you know. Every lesson you learned, every connection that was severed so a better one could come, every closed door that redirected your feet, it was all part of the preparation. You have been in training, and the one who called you knows the exact weight you can carry. He has been increasing your capacity in secret, through trials that looked like setbacks, through losses that looked like endings, through nights that looked like they would never end. And now, as the exposure unfolds, you are going to see the pattern. How every piece of your fragmented life fits into a picture so beautiful that you will weep when you finally stand back far enough to see it whole. The person who managed your story in secret has made a fatal mistake. They believed that because they could not see God, God could not see them. But there is no darkness hidden from the light. There is no secret scheme that the God who sees every sparrow fall has not already logged and scheduled for exposure. And the beautiful part is, you do not have to do anything to make it happen. You do not have to expose anyone or plot revenge. Your work is to stay in peace. Your work is to trust that the God who sees in secret will reward you openly, and He is about to do exactly that. This is your confirmation, chosen one. If you have been waiting for a sign, this is it. The same God who exposed the hidden things in your life is the same God who has been arranging your restoration in the unseen. You have been crying out for breakthrough, and breakthrough has been on its way. But it had to wait for the exposure, because God refused to promote you while the enemy still had a hand in your story. He is cutting that hand off now, chosen one, severing every soul tie, every assignment, every generational pattern that kept you bound. And when He does it, no one will be able to take credit for it but Him. Comment Amen. If you feel chosen, because you are not watching this video by accident, you are receiving an activation, and your yes matters more than you know. There is a shift happening in the atmosphere around you. You may have felt it in the way your sleep has changed, in the way old wounds are suddenly coming to the surface to be healed. When God exposes, He exposes everything, including the hidden places in your own heart that have been holding you back. He is bringing up the things you have been avoiding, not to shame you, but to heal you. The memories that keep playing in your mind, the forgiveness you have been withholding, it is all surfacing now because the season of release has come, and God will not let you carry that weight into the new season He is preparing for you. You have forgiven people who never apologized. You have kept silent when you wanted to scream, kept believing when everything around you screamed that it was foolish. And I know the question that has haunted you, chosen one. Was any of it worth it? And the answer is yes. It all mattered. Every act of obedience that no one applauded, every seed you planted in soil that seemed dead, it was all being recorded by the one whose record cannot be corrupted, and the harvest season is here. Not the season of planting again, the harvest, the restoration. The open reward that comes when the secret manager is removed and the rightful owner takes back the keys to his own house. God has been preparing you like a weapon in the dark, chosen one. Weapons are not prepared in public. The sword is forged in the fire, in the hammering, in the silence of the smithy, when no one sees the shaping. That has been you. But the day is coming, and it is closer than you think, when the sword is taken out of the darkness, when the ones who mocked the waiting will understand why it was never meant to be drawn too early. You were not forgotten in that smithy, chosen one. You were being made. There is a reason this message found you at this exact hour of your life. There are no accidents in the kingdom of God, only appointments. This is your appointment with truth, the moment where the fog begins to lift and the pieces of your story that never made sense begin to fall into place. The person who managed your story in secret was never the true author. They were merely an editor who overstepped, and the original manuscript of your life written by the finger of God, has never been lost. It has been preserved and waiting, and now it is being placed back into your hands, page by page, until your destiny is fully restored and the enemy's version of your life becomes nothing more than a footnote in a story the world will one day call a miracle. You may have noticed that people who once rejected you are beginning to circle back. Doors slammed years ago are suddenly opening, or new doors are appearing that you never even knocked on. This is not coincidence. This is the exposure working in reverse, exposing not what was hidden in darkness, but what was hidden in light. The same God revealing the enemy's hand is also revealing your royalty, causing the hidden gold in your life to surface, repositioning you in the sight of those who once overlooked you, so that you can finally step into the place reserved for you since before time began. But listen carefully, because this is where many chosen ones stumble. When vindication comes, there will be a temptation to demand apologies, to make people pay for the years they stole from you. Do not stop for it. Do not pause your destiny to collect debts from the past. The God who is exposing your story is the same God who will handle every account with a precision your hands could never replicate. Your job is not to punish. Your job is to rise and walk through the door that is opening. Type 222 if you are ready for breakthrough, because breakthrough is not just a change in circumstances, it is a change in the way you see yourself, and you are ready for that change tonight. Let me tell you something about the way God works that will settle your spirit. God does not always remove the giants before his children enter the promised land. Sometimes he lets them enter with the giants still standing to show them that the giants were never the real threat, that the real threat was their own doubt, that the real battle was already won before they ever crossed the river. You have been staring at the giants in your life, chosen one. You have been measuring them against yourself, and of course you have felt small because you were using the wrong ruler. You were measuring your frequency against your circumstances, your strength against the size of the mountain. But the one inside you, the one who has been preparing you in secret, the one who is now exposing the hidden managers of your story, he does not measure the mountain, he moves it. And he is about to move yours, not because you are strong enough, but because you are his, and he is faithful to his own name. There is a new level of authority being released inside you right now, resting in your spirit like a seed that has just been watered. It is the authority to speak to your situation and see it shift. The authority to declare the end of your story over the chaos of your present. Stop trying to fix what he is exposing. Stop trying to control the timing of a God who has never once been late. You were never meant to carry the management of your story. That burden was stolen by the enemy, and it is being returned to its rightful owner tonight. Release it, chosen one. Breathe. The weight you have carried was never yours to carry, and in the release you will find peace that does not depend on your circumstances, stillness in the middle of the storm, a knowing that you are safe and held. The person who managed your story in secret never had access to your soul. That part has always belonged to God, and it is about to rise up and take its place in the world. The world has not seen the real you yet, chosen one, but they are about to, and when they do, they will understand why the enemy fought so hard to keep you hidden. Like this video if you feel this confirmation, because your engagement is not just a click, it is an agreement. An agreement opens doors that resistance keeps locked. Do you remember the dreams you had when you were younger, the ones you whispered to God when no one else was listening, the ones that felt so alive that they hurt? Those dreams were not foolishness, they were downloads. They were glimpses of the blueprint, the true story of your life. But the dreams come back tonight, resurrected in your spirit, because the God who exposed the manager of your old story is now handing you the key to your real one, the one you have been running from because it requires you to believe. Belief is the only door the enemy cannot break down. He can attack your circumstances, your relationships, your mind, but your faith, your yes to the God who called you, is territory he has never been able to conquer, sealed before he ever entered the garden. Tonight, God is asking you to plant your flag there again, not in your feelings, which change with the wind, not in your circumstances, which shift with the seasons, but in the word he spoke over your life before the foundation of the world, a word no hidden hand can ever erase. That word is your anchor, chosen one. That word is the reason you are still standing, still believing, when everything around you tried to make you quit. Listen carefully, because I need you to understand something about your enemies. The people who managed your story in secret were never your real enemy. They were being used. Tools in a war much older than your lifetime. A war between light and darkness. You are a soldier in that war, chosen one, conscripted before you were born. Your story is not just yours. It carries hope for people watching your life from a distance, a message the enemy does not want delivered. That is why you have felt so alone. When you carry a destiny, the enemy tries to cut you off from the people who would strengthen you. He plants division where there should be unity. But chosen one, your isolation was not the enemy's victory, it was God's preparation booth, the place where your dependence on people was stripped away so your dependence on God could become unshakable. The loneliness you carried was the price of the assignment you carry, and the assignment is about to come due. Type 333 if you trust that your story is safe in God's hands, because the timing of your life is not a mystery to the one who holds it. There is a moment coming in your life that you will remember for the rest of your days. It is the moment when the last veil is lifted. It is the moment when you see with your own eyes what God has been doing in the shadows, and you will weep, not from pain, not from regret, but from the overwhelming realization that you were never alone, that your prayers were never lost, that your tears were never wasted, that every single moment of your life, even the ones you would give anything to forget, was woven into a tapestry so intricate that only God could have designed it. That moment is closer than you think, chosen one. The exposure is already in motion. The pieces are already moving. And when that moment arrives, you will not need anyone to convince you that God is real, because you will have seen his hand with your own eyes, in your own life, in your own story, and no one will ever be able to talk you out of it again. Do not despise the season you are in. I know it is hard. I know there are nights when every fear you have ever had comes to visit you at once. But chosen one, this season has a purpose the next season cannot fulfill. It is the sowing season, the season of roots, and you cannot see roots growing, that is the point. They grow in the dark, in the hidden place where no one applauds. But when the storm comes, the tree with the deep roots is the tree that stands. You are that tree. The person who managed your story in secret has already been exposed in the spiritual realm. The verdict has already been read. What you are waiting for now is simply the manifestation of what has already been decided in the unseen. Your waiting is not empty. Your waiting is filled with God, refining your faith, maturing your patience, teaching you to rest in a promise you cannot yet see. The longing you feel right now, the ache for the breakthrough, that longing itself is the promise rising up inside you, proving that the promise is real, because you cannot long for something that does not exist. There is a reason you are hearing this today, and it is the same reason you have survived everything that tried to take you out. God sees the end from the beginning. He already knows the testimony you are going to give, the people you are going to help. Your story is not finished, chosen one. The chapter being closed right now, the one with the hidden manager, the secret schemes, is being closed so that the next chapter, the one you were born for, can begin. The years of groaning are about to give way to rejoicing. And the enemy's final act of desperation, the one that has been wearing you down, is about to become the very platform from which your victory is announced. Do not let the enemy rewrite your ending. The author of your faith is also the finisher of your faith, and he is not finished with you, your family, your finances, your purpose, or the dream he placed inside you. Until he closes the book himself, no one has the authority to write the final sentence of your life. The exposure happening right now is proof that the author has re-entered the room. The pen is back in his hand. And what the enemy meant for evil, God is turning into the greatest chapter of your story. There is something you must do tonight, chosen one, before you close this message. You must forgive. Not because the people who hurt you deserve it, but because the hand that has been managing your story in secret loses its power over you the moment you release the offense. Forgiveness is the strongest thing you will ever do. The act of taking back the keys to your own heart, declaring that their names will no longer have a seat in the government of your life. When you forgive, you are saying that you are done carrying it, that the God who sees everything will handle everything, and you are free to walk into the future He has prepared for you. And as you forgive, something miraculous begins to happen in your spirit. The heaviness starts to lift. The confusion starts to clear. The voice that has whispered lies to you for years starts to grow quiet, because it no longer has your agreement to feed on. Your joy starts to return, not because your circumstances changed overnight, but because you changed the posture of your heart. That is what the exposure is really for, chosen one. It is not just to reveal the enemy. It is to free you, to restore you to the person God saw when He knit you together in the secret place. Drop an amen if your spirit is being stirred tonight, because the freedom being released over your life is real, and your agreement is the door it walks through. You were never ordinary. I know you have heard that before, but I need you to hear it again differently. This time you were never ordinary, and the proof is in your pain. Ordinary people are not attacked for their destiny. Ordinary people do not attract spiritual warfare like a storm attracts lightning. Ordinary people do not feel the weight of the world pressing on their shoulders and still get up in the morning to try again. The fact that you are exhausted, the fact that you are battle-worn, the fact that you have scars that no one can see, that is not evidence that you are broken, it is evidence that you are chosen. The enemy does not waste his arrows on empty vessels. He aims at the vessels that are full of purpose, and you, chosen one, have been full of purpose since the day you were born, whether you knew it or not, whether you believed it or not, whether anyone else saw it or not. There is a season of vindication coming to you that the world will not be able to explain. It will not be a small vindication, it will not be a quiet one. It will be the kind of vindication that makes people stop and ask what happened, the kind that makes your enemies reassess everything they thought they knew about you, the kind that makes your own family look back and weep over the years they did not believe in you. And you will not have to say a word, you will not have to defend yourself. You will not have to post a thing or correct a single rumor or prove a single point. God will do it all, publicly, unmistakably, in a way that leaves no room for doubt. Because He is not just restoring your life, chosen one, He is restoring your name. And the name He gave you is one that He intends to be honored in the earth. In that day, you will look back at every closed door and thank God for it. You will look back at every rejection and see the protection it provided. You will look back at every person who walked away and understand that they made room for the ones who were supposed to stay. You will look back at the years you thought were wasted and see that nothing was wasted, that every tear was a seed, that every sleepless night was a prayer in itself, that every moment of doubt was a step toward the faith you have now. And you will stand in the middle of the evidence of God's faithfulness, surrounded by the story He wrote, and you will say with every fiber of your being that it was worth it. It was all worth it. The waiting, the pain, the isolation, the confusion, all of it. Because the story God wrote is better than anything you could have written for yourself, and the version of you standing in that day is worth every step of the journey. Hit the like button if you are ready to walk into your new season, because tonight is a turning point, and your engagement is proof that your spirit has received what your ears have heard. So here you are, chosen one. Here you are at the exact intersection of everything that has been and everything that is about to be. The person who managed your story in secret has been exposed in the heavens. The hand that held you back has been removed. The pen has been returned to the author. And the only question that remains, the one question that has always been the question, is what you will do with the truth you now carry. Will you go back to the small life, the shallow belief, the agreement with the enemy's version of your story? Or will you rise? Will you believe? Will you take your place in the story that was written for you before the foundations of the earth? You already know the answer. It was never a question of whether you believed in God. It was always a question of whether the God who believed in you could finally get through to the part of you that stopped believing in yourself. And tonight, he has. Tonight, the last wall has come down. Tonight, the old season is closed, the new season is open, and the child of God who has been hidden in the wilderness is about to be seen in the city. The world is about to meet you, chosen one. Not the version of you that was managed, manipulated, and minimized. The real you, the chosen you. The one who was never ordinary, who was never accidental, who was never forgotten, and who was never, not once, outside the hand of the God who writes stories with tears and turns them into songs that nations will sing. Type yes in the comments if this message reached your spirit, because your story is not over, it is just beginning, and the greatest chapter is the one you are about to live.